Hello, everybody, and welcome back to a very liquid sunshine May 22nd, 2024. We have another interesting day. Got a baptism, got some catastrophic events, got some notable birthdays, some treaties. Yeah, let's get into it, shall we? So, May 22nd, on this day in 1813, Richard, I'm assuming the name is pronounced Wagner, because it's German. He was born in Leipzig, Germany. W-A-G-N-E-R. We in the West would call it Wagner, but in German it would be more pronounced Wagner. Richard Wagner was born on this day in 1813. Now, what's significant with Wagner is that he was a German composer who had a huge influence on Western music. So he is who we have to thank for, well, to be quite honest, John Philip Sousa, who was an American composer in the late 1800s, I would say that a lot of his inspiration probably would have come from Wagner. So, that was some good stuff there. We're going to fast forward to 1859. That's the year that my beloved home state of Oregon became a state in the Union. But on this day in 1859, May 22nd, Sir Arthur Conan Doyle was born. Now, he was an author, and I'm sure you know of his work. If you don't know the name, you should definitely know of his work. He was the author who penned the now I'm drawing a blank. He was a famous detective, Sherlock Holmes. So he penned the Sherlock Holmes series of books. Sherlock Holmes, his assistant Watson. Arthur Conan Doyle was given knighthood because of his literary works, and the Queen often does that. The Queen usually gives the honorific of knighthood to those who have brought prestigious glory to the crown. Oftentimes, in contemporary times anyway, a lot of actors were given knighthood. A lot of musicians were given knighthood. Sean Connery was one that was given knighthood. I believe Paul McCartney was also given knighthood for his contributions of his art, meaning music, to the world. With Sean Connery, it was his movies, so on and so forth. So, speaking of actors, British actor Laurence Olivier, he was born on this day in 1907. He was an impressive actor. He did a lot of good stuff too. I believe he was the one who played Zeus in the original 1980s Clash of the Titans. I think that was him. He was a brilliant actor. For someone who was kind of before my time. 1942, Ted Kaczynski was born. Ted Kaczynski, all it said was that he was an American criminal, right? Ted Kaczynski was also known as the Unabomber. He had a huge issue with the federal government and decided that he was going to bomb places. I don't know that he was ever actually successful in bombing government buildings or whatnot, but I know that he was known as the Unabomber. I think he was the guy who was trying to smuggle bombs through his shoes on an airplane. I can't remember. I remember when he was caught. I remember when he was sentenced to prison. And then he was largely forgotten about. This was right around the time, like where a lot of militant types rose up against the government for various issues. Waco was fresh in their mind. Ruby Ridge was fresh in their mind. Government getting, like ATF, FBI, the big alphabet agency, law enforcement agencies, getting into skirmishes with militant folks, and unfortunately for those militant folks, it didn't end too well for them, because the government just simply had more guns. So that was Ted Kaczynski. He was also known as the Unabomber. He was born in 1942. 1946, George Best is an Irish-born football player. He was born today, 1987. I'm going to butcher this guy's name. Novak Djokovic. He's a Serbian tennis player, and if I butchered your name, I am so sorry, pal. But happy birthday. And now on to the latest and greatest of what happened on this day. In 1849, this is interesting. 1849, Abraham Lincoln, wasn't a president yet, but future President Abraham Lincoln was given a patent for a boat lifting device. Lincoln has gone down in history as having been the only president who has ever had a patent issued to him. So that's pretty interesting. 1885, French poet Victor Hugo dies at the age of 83. 1939. Here's where I was talking about those treaties. 1939, there's a solid treaty that's signed between Italy and Germany. Both Mussolini and Hitler have signed the it was the Pact of Steel. Basically what it was is that they would support each other militarily and politically. And this was important because, see, I just watched a video on YouTube yesterday I think it was, and it explained why Italy was so useless in World War II. And a lot of it had to do with the fact that Mussolini, for the most part, was a moron and didn't know what the hell he was doing when it comes to military strategy. For one, they had overextended themselves in Ethiopia when they took over that country and annexed it as Italian occupied territory. They basically had squandered themselves to where they weren't very effective militarily. Mussolini had grand plans of re-engaging, restarting, reinventing the Roman Empire. He wanted to bring the Roman Empire. Now, it is said historically that, and this is why this pact was so good for Mussolini, is because Hitler also wanted to see a reconstituted Roman Empire. So they were both on the same page in that regard, and they both wanted to achieve the same goal. So it made logical sense for the two of them to basically get in bed together and support each other militarily and politically. So what Italy provided for Germany was anything to the south of Germany, Austria, Hungary, and all that was protected by Italy. anything north of the Swiss Alps, was protected by Germany. So when you look at it, you look at all of Central Europe, right? All of Central Europe is basically sewed up. You have Germany to the north, who is basically occupying. Well, Switzerland stayed neutral, but I have a hard time really calling them neutral. You allow Hitler to come in and have vacation spot there in Berchtesgaden. You allow Germany to roll through your country. Just because you didn't partake in the war in any other capacity doesn't mean you're not complicit in it. Like, I'm sorry, Switzerland, to say that you were neutral. Not really. If you didn't fight Hitler, you essentially let him do whatever the hell he wanted through your country. Now, is it true that they were rallying up their troops and making sure that their troops were ready to go in the event that they had to fight off Hitler? That's said to be true, and that they were remaining neutral so that their only interest was themselves, supposedly. At any rate, where I'm getting at is Germany had basically had control of Switzerland in the sense that Switzerland didn't fight them. Germany had control of Austria. Germany had control of Hungary. When Germany took over Poland, he controlled that too. When he took over the Netherlands, Belgium, Luxembourg, Brussels, Denmark, he controlled that too. When he rolled into France, he controlled that, right? He was friends with Spain. Spain also remained neutral, but realistically, Germany wanted Spain to stay out of the war in the event that they needed an exit strategy, and so Spain stayed out of that war. So now you have Italy, and where can Italy go? Well, if done properly, Italy could take Greece. Italy could take Bulgaria. Italy could take Macedonia. It could take, Czechoslovakia. It could take, all the Slavic nations there. So, and if Italy could take Greece, it could take Crete. If it could take Crete, then it had a foothold on the Mediterranean, and through Italy, Germany could take North Africa. Well, this is what they did, right? So it was very strategic for the Italians and the Germans to get together and to form this bond. And it was for the express purpose of them reestablishing the Roman Empire. That was their goal. Thankfully, it didn't happen. Now, the political part of it was, there was a time there where Mussolini had to be ushered out of Italy because Pisans were out to get him. And Hitler did have some Fallschirmjägers go in there and rescue Mussolini and get him out, and so he was exiled to Germany for a short time. Why he returned to Italy, I'm not certain, but I know that the end result of what happened to Mussolini was that Paisanos did eventually get a hold of him. They executed him and his mistress, and like I said in a video the other day, they strung him up and they, threw rocks at, spit on, did whatever. They basically defiled their dead corpses that are hanging in the street. It was a very undignified way of a demise of a dictator, but it was a very fitting demise for a dictator. So that happened in 1939. In 1942, I didn't know this. This is interesting. Mexico declares war on the Axis powers, meaning Mexico declared war on Germany, Mexico declared war on Italy, Mexico declared war on Japan. But I don't know whatever happened to that, because I've never heard of Mexican forces ever being involved in operations against the Axis powers. I'll have to look that up. That's something that needs to be explored a little more. In 1960, Chile had an earthquake, and it killed 5,700 people. And in that earthquake, it caused some seismic activity, and some of the deaths, it caused seismic activity in the Pacific, and there were some deaths reported as far away as even Hawaii and Japan. It was pretty devastating. 1972, Richard Nixon, he'll be the first president to ever go to the Soviet Union and visit a Soviet premier on their turf. He's the first president to have ever actually broke the trend and went to them and had a meeting with them. So that was Richard Nixon. In 1992, we see the final appearance on TV of Johnny Carson. Got to remember the other day, maybe it was yesterday, I can't remember. All my days just kind of flow together. I was talking about the late night talk show hosts, the greats, and Johnny Carson was one of them. He was on the air for 30 plus years. In 1992, or almost 30 years, I'm not sure when he started, but I know he started in the 60s, and in 1992, on this day in 1992, would be the airing of his very last episode, where we saw him. He retired, and then eventually passed away. And so, what happened in 2011? Well, another catastrophic event here. In 2011, there's a tornado that rips through Joplin, Missouri, and it kills about 160 people. I've driven through Joplin. I don't know if I drove through it going to Kentucky, but I definitely drove through it coming home. So in the featured event goes all the way back to 337 AD. Roman Emperor Constantine I, he was also known as Constantine the Great. Constantine is known as being the Christian emperor. It is said that he practiced Christianity as a child. I don't know about that. I always have reservations about whether or not Roman emperors back in that era actually were converts. I mean, it said that I thought I heard that Nero had converted too, but I don't believe it. I mean, I think he let Rome burn. But Constantine, it is said that he became baptized. That's what the event was on this day in 337 AD, is that he was baptized into the Christian church. That he was baptized as a Christian, but he was also baptized as a Christian on his deathbed. So presumably that means that either he died today, tomorrow, the next day, whenever. I mean, he was close to death, and apparently he baptized himself so that he could, I don't know, I guess get right with the Lord, maybe. Who knows? At any rate, that is this day in history for May 22nd, and we'll do it all over again tomorrow, May 23rd. Maybe with less liquid sunshine. Who knows? Time will tell. So, this has been your day in history, and thanks for joining me. Take care, be well, be blessed, and, we'll do this again soon. So, have a good one. All right? Bye.